Before we start, if you're struggling with any boss at all, join the Discord. We have a bunch of people helping with the current Everdark bosses. So another major relic discovery has been made, and usually I don't like to make these videos if I don't actually have anything to talk about, but this time I actually feel like this is pretty substantial. And it comes in the form of one relic that improves your initial standard attack. So at first I thought that this just improved the first hit you landed on a particular mob, but it improves the first light attack of your weapon. We'll use the Wilder Greatsword as an example. So you see how a two-handed light attack hits for 125 and then one-handed hits for 122, which by the way you can see how much damage you'll be doing if you press start, because when you two-hand you will see that the damage differs. So something that I've been experimenting with is having stacks of improved initial standard attack. And yes, we have Marlo the parrot. Yes, he's real. This is not, it's not a toy. Speaking of, I actually might release some merch for Marlos. So if you're interested, let me know. So we have 3 stacks of improved initial standard attack. So if you guys don't know how much this increases your damage, if you see the yellow that's highlighted right here, well, it's more of an orange, but if we scroll over, it says increases the damage of the first light attack by 13%. And you can see it does stack right here. If you're not aware, this is a spreadsheet that this person, I believe his name is called They Love Slay, which he actually commented on one of my videos, so appreciate you. Huge shout out to the person who created this spreadsheet. This applies to the one-handed and two-handed light attack chain or paired weapon. So this is giving you a 13% increase, and because these buffs are multiplicative and not additive, this is actually giving you around a 40% increase, because it's 13% and then 26 and then 39, and I believe it gets rounded up to 40%. A person in the comments will check me, I'm sure, but at the very least, this is improving your damage by 39% on your light attacks. So now look at the same weapon where it still says it does 125 damage. But now look, this is hitting for 181 when two-handed and 175 if you're one-handing. That seems cool, but you might be wondering, well, oh, okay, well if I'm just going to be attacking like this anyway, then why would I do that if just the first hit is being buffed? This comes into the second most pivotal information, and this is a new playstyle that I've been adopting. For people who don't know, blocking in any of the Souls games, it makes you actionable as quickly as possible. So say for example you roll and hold block, the moment you see your arms come up, you can act out of that. So you can see as I'm rolling, the first thing my character does is that he blocks if I'm holding the blocking button, right? So on its own, this helps to give you some pretty helpful information. So if you land a jumping heavy attack and you're holding block, you'll see the exact moment when you are actionable from that. Why does this matter? Well, this helps for if we're doing a light attack, we can block and we'll see that we become actionable pretty quickly. So when you chain these two things together, right, and you block, you can reset and keep getting the bonus from the improved initial standard attack. So we hit for 181. This now goes to 362, 543. And this isn't that slow, because if you compare that to your light attack chain, it's not much faster. And you might wonder how this stacks and compares with if you wanted to land a jumping attack or something like that. You're doing more damage than both of those things. You're almost on par with a fully charged heavy attack. How does this look on the higher end? Because this is a percentage and it's multiplicative, this is actually going to scale even better when you're using better weapons. So looking at the Blasphemous Blade, two-handed is 314. Fully charged, 349. So you see the difference isn't that much for just adopting this new playstyle of resetting and going back to the initial standard attack. Like, I'm telling you, this is really good. And this gets even better because currently, when you beat a Night Lord, the super boss Night Lords, which if you're struggling, join the Discord. It's right here. There's a link in the description. If you need help, have a bunch of people there who help out people all the time with like any boss that they're struggling with. So if you go here, they're selling a relic. Improved stance breaking when two-handing, improved initial standard attack, and poise +3. This is going to be the best relic if you want to use a build like this, because this like sets you off to doing, like, to start your build. This is a good relic to start off with as like the main foundation. It's a green relic slot, and thankfully, you know, you can look at any of these urns and see which one provides a green slot for your character. I'm pretty sure every character gets at least like a urn or some type of goblet that gives them a green slot. But yeah, start with this if you want to make this type of build, because this is great. Now, what are the downsides of using this? Because this is definitely a new playstyle you have to get used to. Like, I can't stress enough, if you're not doing the initial standard attacks, you can pretty much treat it as if you have no relics on you at all, because you're probably going to forego your character specific skills like the wilder follow-up attack. I just don't have that. Wait, actually, this is doing 310. I wonder if it does the same amount of damage if I have nothing on. I think it does. Yeah, we're doing about the same damage. Yeah, so anyway, you'll have to keep in mind, if you're gonna play this playstyle, you need to be doing these attack resets. You have to be doing these animation cancels where you're canceling your recovery frames, because you're foregoing things like a follow-up attack. You're foregoing things like Night of the Lord. If you don't know why this is actually good, I have a video somewhere here on why it's good if you want to watch that later. But you'll be foregoing a lot of things for this type of playstyle. So then you might be wondering, okay, well, why would I even want to use this in the first place? This has the added benefit of allowing you to use any weapon in the game. That's right, Revenant enjoyers who like to use the Guts Greatsword, this is for you. This is your time to shine. Because look at this. If you're using something like a straight sword, right? Even something like a freaking rapier, or like something like a, I'm just looking at random stuff right now, right? Using a rapier, two-handing, 164, right? Each weapon has varying amounts of end lag on their moves for their first light attack. Things like rapiers, look at this. Like, I can act pretty quickly out of that. But then when you combine blocking, I'm just getting the initial standard attack each time. And this racks up pretty quickly. I don't even know if I have the thing on, do I? So yeah, improved initial standard attack. I have it on. And that hit for 165. So now if I go to the sparring ground, test this same weapon out again. 114 compared to 165. Like, you're doing 50 more damage. And that's just with this weapon, right? We were just using this as an example. But look, if you try this other one, we hit for 346. Okay? And now, when we put the relics back on, watch the damage difference. Just watch the damage difference. Because we hit for 346. This is now hitting for 479. Like, this is literally 100 extra damage for free if you just adopt this playstyle. Look at how this racks. So you'll see how quickly the damage can rack up. Look, watch, look. This is using the setup, and this is you doing like the full true combo. So we hit for 1213. We hit for 1437 in those same 3 hits. So we actually got 200 extra damage. So not only does this scale well in the low end, but the scale is even higher in the high end when you have your build completely fleshed out. Because I literally had a run using the Axe of Godfrey, which he doesn't specialize in great axes, but I picked it up because, again, this is going to scale better when you're picking up like higher attack damage weapons like this, which is hitting for 295 on the base. That's comparable to some jumping attacks, and keep in mind, because we're two-handing, we're doing more stance damage. So this is also going to Look, I'm gonna pull up the sheet, right? Increases poise damage by 5%. And this also stacks as well. So this is just really helpful if you want to do a like you're not just limited to two-handing. You can also power stance as well, because if you guys didn't know, this relic gets even better. This applies to if you're power stancing. So say, you know, just for the fun of it, I just said fuck it, I'm using 2 Malekith Black Blades, right? We're hitting for 682 on the standard, and if we go and we take all these relics off to see just how much we'd be doing. So taking all of it off, we hit for 502. So 682 compared to 502, that's almost a 200 damage increase. If you need more proof, something that would perform even better is like a dual straight sword setup. Look, we'll use something that I feel like a Wilder would probably use, right? Let's use the Golden Epitaph. This is also getting the buff, by the way. And if we buff, right, you need to land the first part of the initial standard attack, because that's where you're getting your damage buff. You're not gonna get it from doing the whole chain. Like you need to consciously be like spacing and waiting to land these attacks only. But because like power stance straight swords is just like a really good moveset in general, because it has really good distance. The recovery time is pretty low in terms of like how long it takes for you to be actionable. The jumping attack is pretty phenomenal as well. The rolling attack is pretty decent as well. Like, this is going to be really strong on certain types of power stance setups as well. And again, you can always go back to two-handing and use the same block, because look at how fast I'm actionable. Look at this. I can act so quickly out of this. So that allows me to chain these attacks, and I'm getting so much mileage out of this. Because again, we're doing improved stance breaking by 5% when two-handing, and then if you ever need a power stance, you're still going to receive the same buff if you're power stancing the same type of weapon. So you can't be holding a great hammer and then a dagger in your offhand. Like, it needs to be the same type of weapon. So certain weapon types will even benefit more from this. In my opinion, I feel like things that receive the most benefit are straight swords, because of the recovery time and the window of hold on, let me get a heavy thrusting sword, because I think this is like the next best thing you want to use. But yeah, definitely straight swords, because of the recovery time is really low and the damage you get is pretty respectable, right? Heavy thrusting swords, which in my opinion is just the best one-handed weapon in the game. For example, look at the running attack on this. How far that went, and it still caught him. So you get the bonus. Every good thing about thrusting swords and thrust counter damage you'll get from using weapons like these. You can poke at a pretty safe distance, and this is doing pretty good damage. This is also this is going to be doing counterattack damage if you happen to hit the boss while they're attacking. You know, this has pretty good range. The jumping R1 is phenomenal. It true combos as well if you do the light attack into another light attack. Oh shit! I didn't know that did that. It's kind of cool. Why did I do that? Strong jump attack chops from the wheel into with a lightning. Oh shit, that's kind of cool. I actually never picked this weapon up. So yeah, you can get the added benefit of that if you're using like a Dragon King Crag Blade. Not saying that you get this weapon often. I'm not trying to be like, oh, you know, use this weapon because it's insanely broken. But yeah, this is gonna really benefit things that have like pretty low cooldown on their light attacks. So for example, Club is another really good candidate for this. What's even better is if you get something like Royal Knight's Resolve on a weapon, which boosts your attack, I believe, by 30%. If someone can fact check this, please let me know, because I forget the exact percent right now. But you can just use the Ash of War and then hit them, and you're just going to do at least 1 million damage, at least. Obviously not going to do a million damage for the 2 Redditors watching me, but you're just timing when you're doing these attacks. Then you hold block to reset, right? And then you just attack the moment you like see your hands come up. By the way, you can attack while you're blocking. So look, this is my block button, and then you just attack. I'm still holding down the block button. So that's all I'm doing. You will be getting the added benefit, like, being that this game gives you 100% damage reduction from the physical side if you're blocking with anything at all. So if you're using fists and you block with that, you'll still like reduce 100% of the damage on the physical side. If they're using magic infused, like, you'll still bleed through a little bit because like it's magic. But yeah, if a person happens to hit you while you're doing the animation reset, you'll block it. So there's quite literally no downside to using this like method of play, in my opinion at least, because the only thing you really forego is using jumping attacks, which again you can still use. You won't get the boost of the damage if you're using like a rolling attack, jumping heavy attack, jumping light attack. You won't get the added damage as well as like a if you're doing like a backstep attack. You won't get the boosted damage from that, but even then, it's not like it's stopping you from doing that. Just keep in mind that if you want to be getting the most out of this playstyle, you'll have to block. Just to try to answer every question I could think of, if you're using a great shield as well, this still works with this as well. So like if you're attacking and you want to do a block reset, you can still do that, and you'll still get the added damage. Now I'm hitting for 304. And the damage is still being boosted. It doesn't matter that I'm using a shield. So if you like to use shields, you know, you can do that as well. Plus, I saw a lot of people were asking for the wilder sauce of if you do that and you can still grapple out of your you using your ultimate. Do this animation cancel. You just jump, use your ultimate, and then immediately you want to use your grappling hook. That will allow you to cancel the lag from you doing this. Like, that's me pressing nothing. If you jump and you do it, and then you like press that while you're still in the air, if you do your grappling hook, that will allow you to cancel all of your end lag. So it's pretty helpful because if you're using it on someone, you can immediately grapple back and you can do the... It's helpful because if you use it on a person, they stance break, and then you can immediately use that to follow up. If you're using it on like a boss or something, like you'll grapple to them and then you'll do the riposte immediately right after. Should we name the sparring dummy Malkovich the sparring dummy? If this name is tough, please let me know. Seeing a lot of people for some reason not using group passwords. So if you use the group password wisdom, you will get a free 1000 murk. I'm not lying to you at all. So for example, if you come here from the round table hold and you go to the expeditions, if you literally walk right behind you and you come here, if you're using the password and you see these like glowing particle effects, these are people who have completed runs using the password. So I'll hide my camera, and if you look in the bottom right, look, it says voices and weapon form a blessing. I got 1000 murk for free. Want to see more content like this? Subscribe, and I'm coming out with merch about Marlo. Let me know if you guys would like to see a plushie of him or a t-shirt with a graphic design of him. See you guys later. Be good. Love and light.